Hello, I hope you are having a good day. In this video, we'll take a look at the best and the efficient approach to solving this question. You may recall that this is a question that was given out as homework in one of our previous videos covering the strategies to solve a quantitative comparison question as a part of our best of GRE strategy videos. You might have attempted this question, and if you have, we hope that you have posted your answers in the comment section. So this video I hope comes as a validation for all of you to check your answers and see whether you've got it right or got it wrong. So without any further delay, let's look at how to solve this question. This is a quantitative comparison question, as I mentioned. It's an algebra QC question having an equation given as information on top of the quantities. The equation says x plus 3 into y minus 4 equal to 0. So a lot of test takers interpret this as x equal to minus 3 and y equal to 4, which is not fully incorrect, but it's not fully correct also. If you have a situation where you have two numbers being multiplied with each other, let's say p and q being multiplied with each other to give you 0, it means that if p equal to 0, q can be any value, and if q equal to 0, p can take any value. Now, when you say any value, remember that one of those values could be 0 also, which means if you condense these two situations and look at the common solution, there is a case where p and q can both be 0. But this is just one of the cases, and that is exactly the mistake that a lot of test takers make on this question. They end up concluding that this is the only case that is possible, which gives them the value of xy as minus 12, and therefore the most common trap answer on this question is C. However, this question also gives us a blueprint of a fundamental strategy that we can adopt in a QC question, which is to show that the two quantities are equal in one case, eliminate A and B, then take up another case where you show that they are not equal and eliminate C. If you are able to do this, you have proved that there is no definitive comparison between the two quantities, and the answer is D. The second benefit of this strategy is if you are not able to prove that the two quantities are unequal, which means even after taking multiple cases, it turns out that the two quantities are equal, you have invariably and automatically proved that the two quantities are indeed always equal, which means you have an answer C. So it's a sort of a win-win situation for you, whichever way you look at it. So one case that we can definitely use is the case that, as I told you, many test takers use, x equal to minus 3 and y equal to 4. This leads us to concluding that xy is minus 12, and therefore quantity A is equal to quantity B. And we can eliminate A and B. However, how do we prove that the two quantities are not equal? By taking one of these two cases that we have mentioned here. So for example, if x equal to minus 3, then y can be any value, because when you've taken x as minus 3, this has become 0. Now if one of the brackets becomes 0, then you can practically take any value for y, because the value of the second bracket does not matter, because the product has already become 0. So can I take, let's say, a y equal to 0? Yes, I can. The equation still holds. If I take this case, the value of xy becomes 0, and therefore xy is not equal to minus 12. That means quantity A is not equal to quantity B. Therefore, I can eliminate answer option C And the correct answer option is D. A relationship cannot be determined between the two quantities with the given information. Now, does this mean that you should always try to prove the two quantities equal? My answer would be yes. In a lot of cases, you will be able to do that. But you can also extend this strategy to other cases where you prove that quantity A is more than B, eliminate a couple of options, then you go ahead and prove that A is not greater than B, and you eliminate A. So that is the reason why I said this is a sort of a blueprint in terms of a fundamental strategy for solving QC questions. So what is this blueprint actually dependent on? It is dependent on you contradicting yourself, which means you're taking cases which contradict your previous conclusion, which means you're in some ways you're being a contrarian, and you're thinking of disproving yourself, and by doing so you're arriving at a conclusion which is something that nobody else can disprove. So now that you've understood the basic method of solving a QC question, especially questions involving expressions, variables, the next time you see a similar question, follow this approach, take a couple of cases that contradict each other, and if you're able to do that, you will be able to eliminate at least two answer options, sometimes three, and the remaining answer option will be your correct answer. I hope this video has been helpful and you've been able to understand what is the correct answer. If you have got the right answer, well done. If you did not, I hope you have been able to find the places where you made mistakes, and hopefully you will not repeat them. As we always do, here's a homework question for all of you to try. And this is a QC question again. So it's a great opportunity for you to actually apply what you learned in this video. Once you're done with this question, please post your answers in the comment section and we'll be happy to get back to you if you have any queries. If you like this video, please go ahead and click on the like button. I hope you've all subscribed to our channel already and clicked on the bell icon so that you keep getting notifications of the newer videos that we keep posting. An endeavor that we have taken up to help you to get to your dream GRE score. I'll see you again in another video related to GRE Quant.